This lesson will walk you through how to complete Lesson 1.02, Looking into Literature. I always recommend the first thing you do is make sure you have your guided notes up, which you can get from here to take into your guided notes, and click on whatever module you're working on, and that's the same note guide that you'll use all the way through. So when you open it up, it looks like this. It'll be your own copy. So I would have this open, and then you could obviously go back into the lesson, and I would also have open your English help site. And then go to Module 1, scroll down to 102 because it has a lot of really good resources. So we have our notes and we have our help site. So the last thing you're going to need to do is go into the actual lesson itself, to the table of contents, into Lesson 1.02, where the point of this assignment is to analyze or break down literature. So reading a piece of literature between one of the three story selections and breaking it down to its literary pieces like setting, plot, characters, theme, and just teaching you how to do what's called a literary analysis, breaking down literature. So one of the best, most effective things to do is to have a double screen open. So have your lesson open on one side and having your notes open on the other side is the first thing you could do. And then as you go through the lesson, and you learn all of the different literary elements or review them if you already know the different points of view. You can fill all that in as you go through. They're doing a sample called the Whitesnake to show you how to analyze literature. So it's a sample one to help you. And then you obviously have different characters, protagonist, antagonist, round versus flat, dynamic versus static. It tells you exactly what type of characters they are. Round means they're very developed. Flat means they're, just more of a support character. Dynamic means they change. Static means they stay the same. Then you would go to keep going through your pages. You're going to learn about different themes or lessons that are learned from the story, how to develop a theme. And then again, you're going to practice with the Whitesnake story and finally get to the last page. So remember that the last page of the lesson is where you find the assignment. This is the Microsoft Word version of the assignment. But if you want the Google Doc version of the assignment, that would be found on the English help site. And you can see it's right here. You can click that. So Microsoft Word version, Google Doc version. And you are going to open the document and you're going to use it to read and complete one of these three stories: A White Heron, The Pedestrian, or Scarlet Ibis. It says in this last page of the lesson to look at them online, but they are on the help site in Lesson 1.01. You can find them or you can look them up. I'm going to practice like I'm doing the White Heron, and I'm going to open up my Word document of the assignment. And what I recommend doing is having the document open on one side and the story open on the other side. I would go back and read the story the first time just to get the gist of what's going on, and then I would go back the second time to fill out the chart regarding the story. So A White Heron, I would read the whole thing, get the whole gist of it, and then it's time to go back and say, okay, what's the title? The title of the short story is The White Heron by Sarah Jewett. And then I'm going to go to the plot, the short story setting. What's the exposition, which is the beginning of the story. So the characters introduced, where are they at, what are they doing, just kind of the beginning. Rising action is where's the tension start to build, the problem, or where you can notice something about to build. The climax is that turning point of the story where, a decision has been made or an action that changes everything. Then the following action is what happens right after that, and the resolution is the end. So I would just write a few sentences, complete sentences, outlining the beginning or the stages of the story. Characters. Who's the protagonist? That's the main character of the story. And then is that main character, are they flat, round, static, or dynamic? Well, look at your notes and you can see. Textual evidence to support, that means you need to actually have a quote from the text. So you're going to go pull an actual quote that proves she's that type of character. If you say she's very, or he, the character is very dynamic, that means they change. Find a sentence that actually, or an example that points out they have changed. And then who's the antagonist? So that's the person who is the opposite or against the protagonist, the one that's causing issues against the protagonist. Describe the setting. It says right here, mood, tone, historical context, social environment, place, weather, incomplete sentences. Identify two conflicts. Again, this was in the lesson and in your notes. Is it character versus self, character versus character, character versus nature, character versus society, or character versus technology? Sometimes all 5 of those can be in the story. You only need to select 2 and tell the type of conflict and describe it. So if it's character versus self, she was struggling with deciding if she wanted to, in White Heron, to tell the hunter where the bird was or not. So it's an internal conflict. And then I would come up with another one. Point of view, first person, second person, third person limited, or third person omniscient. Again, that's in the notes. And then textual evidence of support. So if you say it's first person, you need to find a sentence that says, I have been hunting for some birds, the stranger said. Oh, what's the stranger? So this might be third person because that means somebody else is telling it. Or maybe Sylvia. No, yep, it's probably third person, but is it limited or is it omniscient? Does it just tell us the thoughts and feelings of one character, or does it tell us the thoughts and feelings of all characters? And then finally, the theme. What's the lesson that we can learn from this story? Is it making hard decisions, doing the right thing, standing up for those that are less vulnerable? It's just kind of a basically, what is your story's theme? And then how did they develop it? Did they use, in this case, Sylvia to show how her difficult decision of telling about the bird was the right decision or not? And she stood up for them. Like, what actually happened where they developed it? Obviously, there's your rubric below. So that's it. That's how you do 102. Again, these are some tips and tricks to help you. If you need any more help, please let me know. Thank you and have a great day.